at the beginning and Dajjal at the end. And so history is not a haphazard collection of events. No, we must be able to read history, to read and understand the movement of history, to be able to anticipate what lies ahead. But they say, with their methodology, you know who I'm talking about. And you notice I don't have any boxing gloves. This is an intellectual discourse. They say only Allah knows the future. And so it is inappropriate for us to look ahead, to seek to anticipate. That's their methodology. Ours is different. هو الأول والآخر والظاهر والباطن. Not only is he the first and the last, but in order to link the first with the last, in order to understand the relationship between the first and the last, in order to read history, you have to be able to understand the link between that which is outwardly manifest, zahir, and that which is internally hidden, batin. You have to be able to understand the relationship between appearance and reality. It looks like heaven, eh? It looks like the cool waters of a river. And let's go to heaven. Leave Pakistan, leave Egypt, leave Bangladesh, leave Morocco, leave Indonesia. Let's go to heaven. It's the cool waters of a river. And over there, that's the fire. Who wants to be in the fire? Poverty and destitution and everything decaying and nothing working, and everywhere it's rampant bribery and corruption and this and that, and yeah, that's the fire. Oh, what a surprise! That the river is actually a fire. so it is something appalling to us that instead of devoting attention to that which is absolutely vitally important for Akhir Al Zaman, we end up with a boxing match. This one hitting that one, and that one hitting this one, and this one taking this masjid and saying this masjid belongs to this one, and that one belongs to that one. The sectarian divide. And if you want to be my student, no, don't be a part of any of the sectarian divide. Open your arms and open your heart for the whole ummah. Do not identify yourself with any sectarian movement. You can differ with others like I do, but they're still your brothers. Do not waste your time in a boxing match, whereas you should be devoting your attention to moving ahead. Every prophet has warned his people about Dajjal, and Nuh alayhi salam has done it. But I am going to tell you something no one has ever said before me. Dajjal sees with the left eye. He is blind in the right eye. But your Lord is not one-eyed. And now we can take a little minute to include now, and Khidr alayhi salam is not one-eyed. That's our introduction to the subject. But your Lord is not one-eyed, said Nabi Muhammad alayhi salam. And we are now adding, and Khidr alayhi salam is not one-eyed. Between his eyes on his forehead, it looks like a bulging grip, the blind eye. So it should be plain to those who can see that this fellow is one-eyed. If you cannot see that he is one-eyed, you are blind. Between his eyes on his forehead is written the word kafir. Literate or illiterate, he'll still be able to read. So we send Abu Lahab to the eye specialist, have his eyes examined. Why can't he read? But Umar radiallahu ta'ala can read. So the eye specialist sends back the report. Abu Lahab has 20/20 vision. Nothing wrong with his eyes. It's very puzzling to us. Why is it that Abu Lahab cannot read, but Ali radiallahu ta'ala can read? The one who has Iman can read. The one who does not cannot read. So now come the question that the university don't like to hear. Secular scholarship does not tolerate this question. The whole world of secular universities around the world cannot tolerate this question. Do we have any other eyes beside these eyes? Do you notice the way to teach the subject? Is this lecture complex? No, it's simple. If you want to teach the subject, you have to make it simple and you have to be engaging. Do we have any other eyes beside these eyes? No, Imran, Hosein, don't ask this question at Oxford University. It's not allowed in Oxford University already. The secular world of knowledge says, no, these are the only eyes we have. The secular world of knowledge says that knowledge comes only from observation, experimentation, rational inquiry. And when we use this method, then we come to the conclusion that this is the only world we can observe. And hence this is the only world we can know. I'm going slowly. If you're young, I'm going slowly for you. If this is the only world we can know, we conclude that this is the only world that exists. The secular, I'm going to use a big word now, forgive me, the secular epistemology. What is this word, epistemology? It is the branch of knowledge which studies knowledge. What is knowledge? How do we acquire a knowledge? What are the instruments for acquiring knowledge? Epistemology. So our epistemology is that since this is the only world we can observe, it is the only world we can know. And since this is the only world that we can know, we conclude that this is the only world that exists. And hence, there is no reality beyond material reality. Goodbye, religion. Goodbye. Goodbye, belief in Allah. Goodbye, belief in the angels. Goodbye, belief in the scriptures. Yeah. And it is this epistemology which is now fighting to take over Pakistan. It is this epistemology which is enraged. Gussa. Why did he remove this economist who is an Ahmadi? It is something appalling to our secular values. So it is the secular epistemology which is now struggling in Pakistan, because they do not recognize any reality beyond material reality. And hence they do not recognize it's something appalling to them. It is disgusting to them. It drives them crazy. And I hope these words of mine will reach them in Pakistan. May Allah grant it may reach them in Pakistan. It drives them crazy for us to say to them that there is something called absolute truth. And that absolute truth is located in the Quran. If we accept that, our secular world will collapse. They say, therefore, these are the only eyes we have. But the Quran says something else. The Quran gives a different epistemology. That not only do we have this external sight, but we also have something called internal sight, and that is Baseerah. That is Baseerah. The capacity to see what otherwise cannot be seen. The capacity to penetrate beyond external appearance to reach internal reality. The capacity to travel beyond form to penetrate substance. I wish I could give this lecture in Urdu. Oh yes, I think the lecture will emerge far more beautiful in Urdu, but I don't have the Urdu language, so I have to use English. Yeah. أَفَلَمْ يَسِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. Will they not travel to the earth? Perchance that by traveling to the earth, the dead heart might come alive. فَتَكُونَ لَهُمْ قُلُوبٌ يَعْقِلُونَ بِهَا. That when the dead heart comes alive, you can then understand what otherwise you could not. أَوْ آذَانٌ يَسْمَعُونَ بِهَا. Then you can hear what otherwise you could not. فَإِنَّهَا لَا تَعْمَى الْأَبْصَارِ. No, 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 no. It's not these eyes which are blind. No, says Allah. وَلَكِنْ تَعْمَى الْقُلُوبَ الَّتِي فِي الصُّدُورِ. What is blind is the heart which is in the chest. This is the introduction to Baseerah, Khidr and Baseerah. I need another 3 hours to finish the lecture. I took about 25 minutes left to introduce, and I only have another 35 minutes left. What am I to do? Maybe at the end, afterwards, we can have a long question and answer session until midnight, inshallah. Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam said about Surah Al-Kahf, the only surah of the Quran, he said, is linked with Dajjal. He linked it with Dajjal directly. Recite the first 10 ayat of Surah Al-Kahf. And in another hadith, the last 10. In another hadith, the first 3. Another hadith, the beginning ayat. And it will protect you from the fitna of Dajjal. And so we have to visit Surah Al-Kahf to see what is there in Surah Al-Kahf, which is connected with Dajjal. And when we do that, we have to first go to Sahih Bukhari and to Musa alayhi salam, because he is the head of an ummah which declares that we are the chosen of the Lord God. We are the chosen people. And modern Western civilization is built on that lie. If you were born in Britain and you've grown up in Britain, you get all your education in Britain, and you're not aware that this civilization is built on the lie that they are the chosen people of the Lord God. They are the elite of mankind. They have been brought into being to civilize the rest of the world. The rest of the world are inferior to them. That's racism. Yeah, that's racism. You have something called a superiority complex. And because he is Pakistani or Bangladeshi or Egyptian or Arab or Malay, you are inferior beings to us. The elite of mankind. But where did it start? With them. The ummah of Nabi Musa alayhi salam. And Allah destroys that falsehood, destroys it. إن زعمتم أنكم أولياء لله من دون الناس. If you believe that you are the chosen of the Lord God, that's your belief. This rubbish, this nonsense. فَتَمَنَّوُا الْمَوْتَ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Come on! Why don't you desire death? Because you are the elite. When you die, you go to heaven. Heaven is reserved for you. Allah destroys it in the Quran. There is no such thing as the elite of mankind, the chosen people. And when you have this chip on your shoulder, and you believe that you are the elite of mankind, the intellectual elite of mankind, then Allah says, I'm going to have to teach you a lesson. So He chooses Musa alayhi salam. This is the understanding of the use of Musa alayhi salam. It is not Musa who is talking. Allah is using Musa to send a message to his ummah. Okay? He gives a khutbah. I don't know how long this is going to take, my gosh. He gives a khutbah in Sinai, not the hospital in Manhattan, it's the desert out there, Sinai. وَالتِّينِ وَالزَّيْتُونِ وَالطُّورِ سِينِينَ. And someone from the Israelite listens to this khutbah. Khutbah means a sermon. And he comes to Musa alayhi salam and says, Musa, what a fine khutbah. You must be the most learned of all mankind. Well, if you're in London, you can say, yes, I am the most learned. Because you believe you're the elite of mankind. And Musa alayhi salam replied and said, yes, I am the most learned. It's not Musa speaking. Mind you carefully. Allah is using this to send a message to them. They are the ones saying, yes, we are the most learned. And then Allah responded and said, no, you're not the most learned. There's one more learned than you. And it's time for this ummah to wake up and tell them. Don't be afraid. Not because he has a PhD from Oxford. So what? You have the Quran. Don't be afraid of a PhD from Oxford or Cambridge. You have the Quran. Why this inferiority complex? No, there's one more learned than me. And so Musa alayhi salam said, I want to meet him. And then Allah says, you meet him at Majma' al-Bahrain. I have to cut the story shorter, but I have a book entitled Surah Al-Kahf in the Modern Age. And this lecture is located in that book, Surah Al-Kahf in the Modern Age. You'll meet him at Majma' al-Bahrain. The Quran has two kinds of ayat. Ayat muhkamat, which are plain and clear, and only tafsir. But the Quran also has ayat mutashabihat, and Washington doesn't like that at all. The Jews don't like it at all. But there are ayat mutashabihat in the Quran. Why? Because ayat mutashabihat are ayat which must be interpreted. And you will only be able to interpret if Allah allows you to interpret. And even when Allah allows you to listen carefully now, particularly if you are an allama or an ayatullah, listen carefully. If Allah blesses you and allows you to interpret an ayah mutashabih, you still have to say, Allah knows best. Because only Allah can confirm that you are correct. That's the importance of the full stop. You know the full stop. My teacher made a mistake, I made a mistake, and you see the mistake in my book on methodology. But alhamdulillah, I recognize now. Thank Allah 100,000 times for that full stop. Waqfa. Because of that full stop, only Allah can confirm that you are correct with an ayah mutashabih. But you have to make an effort. And if Allah blesses you with the knowledge, and you are a prophet of Allah, and you give the explanation of an ayah mutashabiha, you do not have to say Allah knows best. So when Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam said, eat and drink until the black thread of dawn is distinct from the white thread. You know it? You have Ramadan here in England?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So eat and drink until the white thread is distinct from the black thread of dawn. And the companion said, I have a problem with this, you know, the white thread and the black thread. And then the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam gave the ta'weel, the interpretation. He says what Allah means is eat and drink until the light of the day is distinct from the darkness of the night. But he didn't say Allah knows best. No. Indicating that this knowledge has come to him from Allah, it is absolutely certain. We cannot say, we cannot speak like that. Even if you are an Ayatollah or an Allama, you have to say Allah knows best. So, when Allah takes up the subject in Surah Al-Kahf, and Musa alayhi salam is now traveling to meet the most learned of all men at the Majma'ul Bahrain, the place where the two oceans meet. That's where you're going to find the son, the one who has internal sight, Baseerah. And with Baseerah, you know, you can do lots of things. You can travel through the samawat, go to Surah Al-Mulk, and you'll see. If you want to travel through the samawat, it's not a London taxi cab you're going to take. No. No British Airways. If you want to travel through the samawat, you will travel with Basar. Surah Al-Mulk. So that's where you'll find the man who is the most learned of all, at Majma'ul Bahrain. This is not ayat muhkama. It's not Atlantic and Pacific. This is ayat mutashabiha. It has to be interpreted. And masha'Allah, masha'Allah, masha'Allah for Imam al-Baydawi, the only one who in his tafsir breaks ranks with the rest. And he is courageous to declare that Majma'ul Bahrain is the meeting place of knowledge which is acquired externally, Zahid, and knowledge which is received internally, Batin. And when these two worlds of knowledge are harmoniously integrated, majma, harmoniously integrated as a whole, there you'll find the alim of this zamana. You can produce hundreds and hundreds and thousands of graduates from your Darul Ulum. You can create far more Darul Ulum than you have now today. Unless you can produce a graduate who is at Majma'ul Bahrain, You will not be able to produce a scholar who has the capacity to respond to the modern age. Majma'ul Bahrain, therefore, is the key to the creation of the scholar of this age. And it was my good fortune, a little boy born in the Caribbean island of Trinidad, you know, where anybody who knows Trinidad will know Brian Lara. Born in a little island of Trinidad, a few miles off the coast of Venezuela. But I was blessed to be the student of a teacher. And that teacher was located Majma'ul Bahrain. Yes. And he was the student of another teacher who made mistakes. Yes, we all make mistakes. Iqbal made mistakes. My own teacher makes mistakes, and I am making mistakes all the time. No problem with that. He was the student of Muhammad Iqbal, and despite all the mistakes that Iqbal made, and don't be offended when I tell you that Iqbal made mistakes, but despite the mistakes that Iqbal made, he's still an outstanding scholar, apart from being a great poet. And I honor him and respect him. Even when I say to him, Iqbal, you've made a mountain of a mistake here. And I look forward to the day when I can meet with him, inshallah, because I'm confident that Iqbal will say, Imran, you're correct. My teacher, Maulana Dr. Muhammad Fadlur Rahman Ansari, rahimahullah, was precisely such a scholar at Majma'ul Bahrain. So he set off on the journey to Majma'ul Bahrain, and he took the servant with him, Musa alayhi salam, and then they met Khidr alayhi salam on a rock. And Allah says about Khidr alayhi salam, the man who is the most learned of all, the alim of Akhir Al Zaman, the only scholar with the capacity to understand the reality of the world in this age and to respond to it appropriately. Allah describes him. آتَيْنَاهُ رَحْمَةً مِنْ عِنْدِنَا. I gave him rahmah from myself directly. So this is a person who, in everything he does, there is rahmah. Me, I get vexed. I use strong language, and they have Shaykh Imran. Don't call them fools with a capital effort. So I lose patience. I lose patience. Yeah. I'm teaching the subject for 20, 25 years now. They're not listening to me. I'm telling them this money is bogus and fraudulent and haram, this paper money you're using. They're not listening to me, so sometimes I shout. but this man, آتَيْنَاهُ رَحْمَةً مِنْ عِنْدِنَا. He has, so much patience. He has rahmah written all over him. So if you want to be that kind of scholar, you have to be kind. You have to be kind. Then Allah says something else about him. وَعَلَّمْنَاهُ مِنْ لَدُنَّا عِلْمًا. And I transmitted knowledge to him directly from me. But to qualify for that knowledge, you have to produce oil. You know the oil of the zaytun? Zaytun is the olive, is the purest of all oil. And you're not going to produce oil if you're only eating biryani and going home and sleep. You're not going to produce oil if you're worrying only about your business. If I say this, my business will collapse. Oh really? Well, you're not worshipping Allah, you're worshipping your business. Wait on the grave. Allah wants to see the sincerity in your heart. And there is no sincerity in your heart when you're more concerned about your business than producing oil. No, if I speak like that, they're going to say I'm a terrorist. They're going to put my name on a no-fly list. So what? I don't care 2 peanuts. They can do what they want. Yes, of course. Nabi Muhammad ﷺ was not reckless in his language. He was not reckless in his conduct. But when something had to be said, he will say it. And if you come to him and tell him, no, don't talk like that, don't do it, he will say to you, you know, when last have you heard it? Even if you give me the sun in my right hand and the moon in my left, I will not abandon it. This is the man we follow. This is the sunnah. If you want to produce oil, and also that the glass must be clean, spotlessly clean. So you can't be gambling. You can't be taking drugs. You can't be having casual sex and expect the glass to be clean. What nonsense. If you want the glass to be clean, stay away from gambling. If you want the glass to be clean, stay away from drugs. If you want the glass to be clean, your relationship with her must be halal. And if you have a halal relationship with her, then Allah gives you sukoon. Sukoon. There are things in life that money cannot buy. Sukoon is one of them. She wants a husband. She needs a husband. You already have a wife. But Allah has given you the means to take another wife. Oh, no, Shaykh, I can't do that. I can't. If I do that, my community will discard me. If I do that, people will talk about me. If I do that, I'm going to lose face, lose status. People are going to say I'm misguided. They're going to say this and that and that and the other if I take a second wife. I can't do that. We'll go back to school. You're still a schoolboy. You're not yet a man. Worse, of course, is the one who takes one wife in the open and he has something in the dark, you know, like a rat. So if you want to produce oil, you got to have backbone. And this is the ayah of the Quran. We don't have the time, of course. I wish I could have given you a long explanation on the ayah. Allahu nuru samawati wal ard masalu nurihi kamishkat fiha misbah al-misbahu fi zuja ila akhir al-ayah. That is the ayah of the Quran par excellence. How to get the nur with which to be able to see what otherwise cannot be seen. So don't ask me the question afterwards how to get the nur. There it is in the answer. And also recite Surah Al-Kahf on every day of Jum'ah. And you'll get nur from the samawat to the earth, and that nur will remain with you until the next Jum'ah. So now, he now wants to follow Khidr alayhi salam, so he can get the knowledge from him. If you want to study with me, and you don't have a chip on your shoulder, and you come to me humbly, alhamdulillah, I'm happy to have you as a student, and I will teach you. But if you come to me with a chip on your shoulder, that you are the elite of mankind, then look at the answer. Musa wants to follow him, and he answers and he says, and this is a lovely, lovely, lovely answer. Keep it in your pocket. Hold it in your pocket for them. When they come with the arrogance, I have my PhD from Oxford. إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا وكيف تصبر على ما لم تحط به خبرا. Go home, find these two ayat in Surah Al-Kahf and study, recite it. Sometimes I recite an ayah of the Quran 30, 40, 50, 100, 200, 300 times. One ayah. Just one ayah. I just keep on reciting. إِنَّكَ لَن تَسْتَطِيعَ مَعِيَ صَبْرًا. You cannot show patience with me. Your epistemology is different from mine. That's why the government of Pakistan has to decide now. If Pakistan is a secular state, this is my lecture on Saturday night, I extend an invitation to you to come Saturday night. Where is it?
It's Ashford.
Ashford?
Hanslow.
Somewhere, something Ashford. Come speak to Yashraf afterwards, you get to know. Saturday night is on Pakistan. If Pakistan is a secular state, well then you need a PhD from MIT to help you. But if Pakistan has any links with Islam, and someone whispered to me that the new Prime Minister said that he wants this Pakistan to be built after the model of Medina. Is that so?
Yeah.
Did he say so?
Yes.
Oh, well then, we say to you, if you want to build Pakistan after the model of Medina, we are saying to you, you cannot take Pakistan out of the mess in which it is today, this permanent poverty and destitution, without the Quran. That's what we're saying. إِنَّكَ لَن تَسْتَطِيعَ مَعِيَ صَبْرًا. You cannot show patience with me. Your epistemology and mine are different. وَكَيْفَ تَصْبِرُ عَلَى مَا لَمْ تُحِطْ بِهِ خُبْرًا. How can you show patience in respect of that which lies beyond your capacity to comprehend? I wish I could say this in Urdu. How can you show patience in respect of that which lies beyond your capacity to comprehend? It is epistemology here. It's epistemology. No, I promise you I'll show patience. Okay, you can come with me, but don't ask any questions. But I have my PhD from Oxford. How you can talk to me like this? Huh? I have my PhD from MIT, and the IMF has declared I am one of the top 30 economists in the world. The Qadiani boy that the IMF sent to Islamabad. How can you talk to me like, no, keep your mouth shut. Don't ask any questions. Don't ask any questions until I explain to you. Look at the language of the Quran. And then came the three events. And my time is coming to an end now. Then came the three events. Number one, the boat. Number two, the boy. And number three, the wall. You know what I'm talking about? Shake your head and let me hear. If your head don't shake, it means you've not been visiting Surah Al-Kahf. On all three occasions, Musa alayhi salam, using the scientific method, using the epistemology of modern Western civilization, and with this elitist intellectual arrogance that they have, on all three occasions he gave answers which were wrong. And Khidr alayhi salam had to correct him. But notice, the corrections that Khidr alayhi salam gave was not knowledge located in ayat muhkamat. It was ta'weel. It was interpretation of events. in which he had to correct Musa alayhi salam. And the only way you could interpret events in the modern world of Dajjal is if you have Baseerah. And so I want to conclude with a message to the Darul Uloom that, and I don't say this in any way that is demeaning or destructive in content. I have to say to the Darul Uloom, and I do it very respectfully, that the only alim, the only scholar who can handle the modern world is the one who follows the model of Khidr alayhi salam. And the classical model of education, the Dars in Nizami, and all of these things that you have in your Darul Uloom, and the students that you have who have so much sincerity in their hearts and piety, and they spend so many years in study. May this lecture reach them wherever they are in London, in England. That Imran is not a scholar, Imran is a fisherman. I've come to fish. Yes. In the last years of my life, I'm fishing for students. I'm fishing for students who can become people who will follow in the footsteps of Khidr alayhi salam. That's what I'm fishing for. Will this happen? Will we have a generation of ulama coming in the future who will be able to penetrate the reality of the world of money today? Penetrate the reality of the economy today? Recognize that every single government in the history of Pakistan has failed. Every single one has failed from the beginning to the end. None has succeeded. And so, do you expect this one will succeed? Are you living in dreamland? None has succeeded because none has turned to the Quran. None. On the contrary, the secular jihadists declare, we are mullahs. Mullah kya kar sakte hai? Huh? The mullah, these are the extremists. And they are the enlightened ones, the secular elite. Oh yes? Well, we say to you from Forest Gate, Masjid al-Quba, and we're sending the message to you there in Islamabad, that the Quran tells us, and we repeat this on Saturday inshallah, that Allah wants an economy in which wealth will circulate through the economy. He does not want an economy in which wealth will circulate only amongst the rich. And he says so in the Quran, كَيْ لَا يَكُونَ الدُّولَةَ بَيْنَ الْأَغْنِيَاءِ مِنْكُمْ, so that wealth should not circulate only amongst the wealthy. And we say to you, the arrogant secular elite of Pakistan, who control the newspapers and so on, that unless you're living in Disneyland or you got your PhD in Hollywood, you should recognize that the rich in Pakistan have been permanently rich from day one and are still rich. And the poor in Pakistan have been miserably poor and permanently poor from day one. And so this is not the economy that Islam wants. This is not the model of Medina. If you invite me to come again, I hope I get an invitation. That I can teach the subject of riba and what is the economy which Allah has given. This is what we need from the Darul Uloom. We need the alim who will follow in the footsteps of Khidr alayhi salam. Is it possible that we will get that in the future? I noticed one or two were shaking their head and saying no. Okay. Let me end with this beautiful prophecy of Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. Oh, it's beautiful. He said, my ummah is like the rain. Have you ever heard it? My ummah is like the rain. I do not know which shower is better, the first or the last. Yes. From this we know that there is a generation of scholars of Islam who are coming, who will be comparable to the first. And our duty, you and I, our duty is to build the foundation, to prepare for that which is to come, inshallah. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may bless us all with Baseerah and to follow in the footsteps of Khidr alayhi salam. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين آمين. I realize that speaking for an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours is not beneficial. So I said, okay, I'm going to cut myself down to only 1 hour. I said, tomorrow it'll have to be 45 minutes. The day after it'll be half an hour. Because we're living in the fast lane now. Everybody wants nothing. You like fast food? Fast food? Want fast knowledge. They want to compress. Yeah. We can now have how much time until Maghrib? 15 minutes?
Yes, 3.
Only 3-4 minutes? Oh, then we have to stop now. No question now. We'll have a question and answer session after Maghrib, inshallah. I need a chair at the back.
Yeah. The chair's ready.
And my walking stick is there?
Yes.
Yeah, big. Yes. Yeah, okay.
رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الله أكبر الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين كأنهن الياقوت والمرجان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان هل جزاء الإحسان إلا الإحسان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان ومن دونهما جنتان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين مدهامتان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان فيهما عينان نضاختان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد معدن الجود والكرم وآله وبارك وسلم. اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام وإليك يرجع السلام. وحينا ربنا بالسلام وادخلنا دار السلام. تبارك ربنا وتعاليت وتعظمت وتكرمت يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
Thank you.
आगे आगे आ जाएं पीछे वो बहुत खड़े हैं आप आगे आ जाएं ताकि उनको जगह मिल जाए प्लीज़ आगे बहुत जगह है आगे और आगे आए इधर इस बार आगे बढ़ो
Bismillahi awwaluhu wa akhiruh. We now have a question and answer session, but also you are free to offer your comments. Sometimes I don't understand your British accent. So you're going to have to raise your voice, and sometimes my hearing is declining, and that's not always a bad thing, eh? My hearing is declining now, so you might have to raise your voice for me to hear carefully. Otherwise, you can write your question and send it up. Anybody? The first one? Yeah.
Cryptocurrency and permissibility for us to purchase or sell. A little bit on that, please.
Okay. Can we hold that question for a little while? Let's stay with the topic.
Yes.
Oh, it's a beautiful topic, eh? Baseerah. Baseerah, yeah. Ma zagal basar. Oh, mashallah. Ma zagal basar. Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam in the Miraj, and he's there at Sidratul Muntaha, the tree, the lotus tree. And Allah says, Ma zagal basar. He's talking about basar. And his basar, his gaze did not waver. Basar. Beautiful subject, yes. Anybody else? Yeah.
You spoke about
Allama Iqbal.
So Pakistan ideology, he gave the ideology to make Pakistan.
I am not Pakistani.
Just one.
I have not studied the subject of, I only study the Quran. Go ahead.
Because
I don't know Pakistani ideology. You have to ask somebody else to explain to you, respond to Pakistan ideology. Yeah, go ahead. I'm not in that field. Yeah.
just an example that you said he has mountains or mistakes.
He has made monumental mistakes. Yes, yes,
So
but
can you give a few examples?
yes, but that does not mean that I speak disrespectfully of him at all. I consider him my teacher. Yes, and I consider him to be someone, despite his mistakes, on the path of Khidr alayhi salam. Yeah, I don't know anyone who has responded to modern Western civilization from an Islamic perspective, as brilliantly as he has. Among the mistakes that Iqbal has made, and may Allah forgive him. Well, first of all, he does not have an eschatology. You can search all of Iqbal, you will not find an eschatology. And that, very sadly, is a very, very big vacuum in his thought. Because without an eschatology, you cannot understand what's happening in the world today. But that's not the whole story. Allah speaks in the Quran about Gog and Magog, Ya'juj and Ma'juj. So if you want to study the subject of Ya'juj and Ma'juj, or Gog and Magog, will you begin with the hadith? Huh? That's a very foolish methodology, isn't it? You disrespect the book of Allah. Huh? If you want to study the subject of Gog and Magog, you go first to the Quran. That's proper methodology. And that is what Iqbal did. And very, very, very few scholars have done it, what he did. Yes. And when you go to the Quran, you'll find about Gog and Magog that they are agents of fasad, they commit fasad. Which reminds me that on the 1st of December, I am extending an invitation to you. There is a place in Croydon called Coombs Farm. And I've just decided it here during this lecture. Now, I'm going to have an all-day seminar at Coombs Farm. So, Basi Shantar. In this seminar, we'll teach Surah Al-Kahf of the Quran. So what I couldn't do today because of time constraint, I'll have the whole day to teach you Surah Al-Kahf, and I will enjoy the lecture more than you. Oh yes, Surah Al-Kahf, beautiful. So that is the 1st of December. I think it's a Saturday. And then 2 weeks later, that is Saturday the 15th of December, I'm going to have something more exciting. For the first time ever, I'm going to attempt, I don't know if anybody did it before me, I'm going to attempt for the first time in my life to conduct a seminar from morning to evening explaining Dajjal, the false Messiah. This is not an easy subject. A schoolboy cannot handle this subject. You have to spend a long, long time with this subject. Dajjal is not an easy subject. But that will not be in London, that will be in Birmingham. But Birmingham is only 2 hours away. Okay? Yeah. So, 1st of December, remember I've sent you the invitation. And you go to my website, imranhossein.org, and you see there. Or you can go to YouTube, I put it on there. 1st of December at Coombs Farm in Croydon, explaining Surah Al-Kahf of the Quran, an all-day seminar. And then on the 15th of December in Birmingham, explaining Dajjal, the false Messiah. Gog and Magog, agents of fasad. That's what the Quran says. Inna Ya'juj wa Ma'juj mufsiduna fil ard. As a consequence, they have to be human beings. I don't have the time now to do all that homework for you. They have to be human beings. Yes. But number two, not only are they wicked, not only they commit fasad, they are destructive forces, but they are so powerful that even Zulkarnain cannot destroy them. He can only put a barrier to protect them. So when these people are released into the world, they're going to take over the world. It's going to be the world order of Gog and Magog. We've not as yet gone to hadith, remember? We've only used the Quran so far. And then in the Quran, Allah speaks about a town, a city, Qarya. And He does not identify. Why? Because He's sending the Quran لِقَوْمِ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ, people who think. And He destroyed the town or the city. Then He expelled the people. And then He placed a ban on them that they could never return to reclaim this city as their own. No. Until Gog and Magog are released, and with their indestructible power, they spread out in all directions, they take control of the world. And the world order of Gog and Magog. وحرام بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان وحرام على قرية أهلكناها أنهم لا يرجعون حتى إذا فتحت, mark the words, فتحت, إذا فتحت يأجوج ومأجوج وهم من كل حدب ينسلون. When you use proper methodology, the town is Jerusalem. Allah is speaking about the Jews. That He destroyed Jerusalem, He expelled the Jews, and then He placed a ban on them, they could never return. For 2,000 years they could never return. And then suddenly they come back. And they reclaim Jerusalem as their own. We must ask, what is the explanation? If you are content to eat your biryani and go home and sleep, you a schoolboy. What is the explanation? You're not a scholar as yet. What is it that explains this? Iqbal, in a absolutely magnificent display of internal, intuitive, spiritual insight, basar, like no other scholar in the world of Islam, with the possible exception of one who was called Akhir Al Zaman, Sayyid Nursi, from Turkey. Iqbal responded to the Bolshevik revolution in 1917. And the First World War was just coming to an end. And the British Army had just liberated Jerusalem. And General Allenby had declared, today the Crusades are over. And that tickled Iqbal's intellect. And then he declared with this absolutely astonishing couplet in Urdu. Incomparable, incomparable. Indicating that he had penetrated the very heart of the subject. खुल गए याजूज और माजूज के लश्कर तमाम. My pronunciation not too bad. खुल गए याजूज और माजूज के लश्कर तमाम. लश्कर तमाम. Notice the ayah ends وحرام على قرية أهلكناها أنهم لا يرجعون حتى إذا فتحت يأجوج ومأجوج وهم من كل حدب ينسلون. That they will not, the people will not come back to this town to reclaim it as their own until Gog and Magog are released and they spread out in all directions. Yansilun. Mark the word Yansilun. Have you done it? खुल गए याजूज और माजूज के लश्कर तमाम. चश्म मुस्लिम देख ले तफसीर हर्फ यंसिलु. The gaze of Islamic scholarship must now be directed to that passage in the Quran, in Surah Al-Anbiya, which ends with the word Yansirun. No scholar, none, no scholar in the contemporary world of Islam did what Iqbal did. He captured the very heart of the subject, as no one else did. But now I have to say to him when I meet him, inshallah, Dr. Iqbal, can you explain to me how come after this dazzling display of basar, an accurate explanation of the contemporary reality in the world from the Quran, you never uttered another word on this subject after this? Bas ye aur kuch nahi. I'm going to have to ask him. I mean, I'm sorry I'm going to have to ask him. I'm going to have. Is it because if you had proceeded, you'll never become doctor? I mean, if you had proceeded, you'll never become Sir Muhammad Iqbal? These are not nice words to utter. No. But this seems to be the reality. That after this, he never uttered a single word on the subject. He never wrote on it. He never spoke on it. Nothing. He totally silent. That is indefensible. Absolutely indefensible. It's a mountain of a question mark. The only scholar. The only one. Nobody else. Not at Azhar University. Most certainly not. Only Iqbal. Absolutely correct. I can go on to other things that he did. But this is enough. One. I have a small booklet at the back entitled Iqbal and Pakistan's Moment of Truth. So I suggest you read that. Yeah, next question. Yeah.
From Quran we know that angels can take the form of a man and will teach us.
Can you hear him?
I'll speak a little bit louder. From Quran we know that angels, they can take the form of a man.
An angel can take the form of a human being, yes.
When the angels visited Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, could Khidr, Hazrat Khidr alayhi salam, could he also be an angel who took form of a man, who came, taught us, and then went away? Because we don't hear anything else before this event and after this event. So if this is the case, then can Hazrat Khidr alayhi salam come today as a man, teach us and go away to give us Baseerah?
I'm happy you asked that question, because there are those who say Khidr was a Nabi. It is the quality of the truly learned, راسخون في العلم, that they recognize the limits of knowledge. And when Allah has put a line, they don't cross the line. So on the subject of Khidr alayhi salam, we must restrain our enthusiasm, restrain our mind, and be content with the knowledge which has been given in the Quran. And the Quran does not tell us anything more than what I have said to you. But when we have the all-day seminar on what date in Croydon? 1st of December, then on that occasion we'll be able to expand on the subject of Khidr. At this time, I advise you, stay only with the Quran, and to the extent that the hadith is in harmony with the Quran, you can also incorporate the hadith. But when the hadith is in conflict with the Quran, stay with the Quran. Yes, next question. Yeah. We'll come back to your question at the end.
Regarding the Dajjal, when he arrives, before he arrives, so he will have approach to only the cities of civilized community. So he will not be able to go, easily to the village. So you can go to the village, you can make your own village. So in your lecture you have given us like this. I had your lecture. So how is it possible today to make a new village and go there and survive there and wait for the job? Is it possible? Not possible.
Okay, can you tell me what he said? Oh no, you didn't hear as well. You didn't hear. Kya baat hai?
He said in Akhir Al Zaman, when the Dajjal arrives, and he'll go through the towns and cities. But what he's saying is that we can go to the villages. Can you advise in
Okay, all right.
village?
When Tamim ad-Dari met with Dajjal on the island, and after he had confessed, he said, I am Dajjal, Ana Dajjal, Ana Dajjal. No, sorry, mistake. He said, Ana al-Masih, Ana al-Masih, I am the Messiah. He then said to Tamim ad-Dari, when I'm released, I'll enter every town and every city, including London. Did you hear that? I will enter every town and every city. But I'll not be allowed to enter Mecca and Medina. Oh, but Dajjal is in Mecca now. Oh yes. He's most certainly in Mecca. You can see evidence of Dajjal all over. His footprints are scattered all over Mecca. The implication is that when Dajjal is released, a shadow will come over the world. This is the greatest fitna that mankind will experience from the time of Adam alayhi salam to the last day. This is a monumentally important event in human history, the likes of which nothing else can compare. When Dajjal is released, a shadow will come upon the world. And that shadow will remain until Dajjal emerges in human form. Then the shadow will disappear and you see the real man. This is what Allah is saying in Surah Al-Mursalat of the Quran. But remember, when we interpret the Quran, we must always say, Allahu Alam. Allah knows best. Because only Allah can confirm whether we are right or wrong. Intaliku. Proceed. Let the historical process now proceed. Intaliku ila zillin. Zill is a shadow. Proceed to a shadow. A shadow which will now come upon the wall. These salasi shu'ab. And the shadow will emerge in three parts, three stages. And when the three stages have ended, then the shadow disappears and the real person comes. My interpretation, and you find it in my book entitled Surah Al-Kahf in the Modern Age, there's a chapter in that book which I should not have had to write. My teacher should have written that chapter. Yes. The chapter is entitled The Quran and Time. The Quran and Time. And I confess I am not qualified to write on that chapter. No, I am a schoolboy. Me, I'm just a schoolboy compared to my teacher, Maulana Dr. Muhammad Fadlur Rahman Ansari. If he had written that chapter, subhanallah, the Quran and Time. But he's no longer here. So we have to do whatever we can. So in that book, Surah Al-Kahf in the modern age, you will find this chapter entitled The Quran and Time, in which you will see Imran struggling to make an effort to explain the subject. But when Dajjal is released, he lives on earth for 40 days. Yawmun kasana, a day which will be like a year. Yawmun kashahr, a day which will be like a month. Yawmun kajum'a, a day which will be like a week. Wasairu ayyamihi ka ayyamikum, and all his days, meaning all the rest of his days, like your days. So 3 stages of the life of Dajjal before his day is like our day. When his day is like our day, he will be in our world, meaning our world of space and time. Zaman or Makan, space and time. But prior to that, he is not in our world of space and time, but he's here on earth. You can't see him. Are there angels in this room? Of course. Can you see them? No. Are there jinn in this room? Of course. Can you see them? No. The Dajjal is here in this world. Can you see him? No. So during this period of time, when the shadow is here on the earth, Dajjal is free to travel, to penetrate, to do all he wants to do, but he's not in our world of space and time, so we can't see him. So he's entering every town and city, including Mecca, including Medina. He's everywhere now. He's most certainly here in London. But when he appears in human form, when will that be? It is eschatology which teaches the subject. Umran Bayt al-Maqdis, Kharabu Yathrib. Kharabu Yathrib, Khuruj al-Malhama. Khuruj al-Malhama, Fath al-Constantiniya. Fath al-Constantiniya, Khuruj al-Dajjal. That when Jerusalem is center stage, using the analogy of construction. Analogy. Don't understand literally. When Jerusalem is center stage and Medina plays absolutely no role in world affairs, then will come the Malhama, or the Great War. But after the Malhama, the next event which will occur would be the conquest of Constantinople. And the reason, of course, for the conquest of Constantinople, number one, so that we can return Hagia Sophia, the Orthodox Christian cathedral, which was transformed into a masjid in an act of unmatched wickedness and sinfulness, shameful thing. I wish I had harsher language to use for what they did. We will return Hagia Sophia to the Orthodox Christian world, and our critics will not be able to stop us. And we will offer an apology to the Orthodox Christian world for what we did to them, and our critics will not be able to stop us. And we will return the name of the city to the name that Nabi Muhammad ﷺ used. لَتَفْتَحَنَّ الْقُنْسْتَنْتِنِيَّةِ. Those are the words he used. He didn't say لَتَفْتَحَنَّ Istanbul. We will return the city to the name that Nabi Muhammad ﷺ used. And they will not be able to stop us. And when we do that, the last piece of the dagger which is plunged into the heart of the Christians to sabotage any possible friendship and alliance between the Ummah of Muhammad ﷺ and the Ummah of Nabi Isa alayhi salam. That last piece of the dagger will be taken out. The blood will stop flowing. And then these people will become what Allah says in the Quran. وَلَتَجِدَنَّ أَقْرَبَهُمْ مَوَدَّةً لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّا نَصَارَى. And you'll most certainly find in time to come that those who will be closest in love and affection for you, closest in love and affection for you, the Ummah of Muhammad would be a people who proclaim we are Christians. You think it will be the British people? Or the Americans or the French or the Germans? Huh? If you believe that's going to be Western civilization, you should buy a one-way ticket to the moon. No, it's going to be that part of the Christian world, not this one. And so when we return Hagia Sophia to them, that will then cement the friendship and alliance which will emerge in Akhir Al Zaman. And they will become closest in love and affection for us. And guess what? It has already started. When I visit Moscow, I lectured at the State University of Moscow, which is the most important university in Russia. I got a reception different from Washington. Different from, I would never be invited to a university. They received me with respect. And at the end, they treated me with affection. Yes, this is State University of Moscow. I'm saying this because there are young people here who tomorrow will be attempting to walk the same road. Don't be afraid. And when I go to Belgrade, these are the two important cities. Belgrade because that's the Balkans. In Belgrade, when I lectured in the University of Belgrade, and I spoke about this, they were crying. Yes, they were crying. The second reason why the conquest of Constantinople will occur after the Malhama is because it will liberate the Bosphorus, which is today under the control of NATO. So long as Turkey is a member of NATO, I don't expect Turkey to ever leave NATO. No. And until you leave NATO, you're not part of my Ummah. No. So long as you are in NATO, I don't recognize you as a part of my Ummah. Why? Because Allah says in the Quran, وَمَنْ يَتَوَلَّهُمْ مِنْكُمْ. You heard it? وَمَنْ يَتَوَلَّهُمْ مِنْكُمْ فَإِنَّهُ مِنْهُمْ. Whosoever turns to them from amongst you, they don't belong to you anymore, they belong to them. So we will liberate the Bosphorus, and so the Russian Navy can pass through the Bosphorus into the Mediterranean without being stopped by NATO. It is after the conquest of Constantinople, then, says Allah, send the Prophet, you'll have the Khuruj of Dajjal. Dajjal will now appear in human form. It is when he appears in human form that he'll come from the east. Not now, at that time he'll come from the east. Yes, I have studied geography. They say, Shaykh Imran, you must study geography. At that time he'll come from the east. Okay? And it is at that time that if he tries to enter Medina, the angels will stop him. He cannot enter Mecca and Medina because the angels will stop him at that time. I'm sorry I had to take so much time to answer you. Next question? Yeah. Or if you have any comments to make, yes?
With Russia in Syria, almost ending the war, is that the alliance between Orthodox Christians and Muslims, do you say, is the start of the time?
Did you hear? Did you hear?
I will be a bit louder.
He's saying the with Russia in Syria at the moment.
Yeah.
Do you think that's the initial stage of the Orthodox Christians and the Muslim world joining alliance? Is that the initial?
If Russia had not intervened militarily in Syria, number one, Syria would have already become another Libya. Libya is today controlled by NATO. And with NATO in Libya, Egypt doesn't stand a chance. They have to attack Egypt to take the eastern delta. Why? Because their book says that the Holy Land extends from the river of Egypt to the river Euphrates. And the river of Egypt, every Jew knows, is the Nile. So that part of Egypt from the Nile to the Red Sea is known as the Eastern Delta. They have to take physical control of this territory. The frontiers of the state of Israel has to expand to encompass this part of Egypt. Otherwise, when Dajjal declares Anal Masih, no Jew will accept it. So there is an attack coming on Egypt. Oh yes. And the reason why they went into Libya is because when the attack on Egypt is to take place, they'll attack Egypt from this side and from that side. And they also have their proxies in the south. If Syria had become another Libya, then NATO would have control of not only Libya but also Syria. And that would have made Israel's position impregnable. If Russia had not intervened in Syria, not only would Syria have become another Libya, but more than that, they would have put a so-called Islamic regime in Syria, although it would be controlled by the NATO. And this Islamic regime would have declared Khilafah and would have been shouting from the mountaintops, we're going to cut the throats of Israel. This is what Israel wants. Israel wants to be able to say to the world, if we don't wage a war, they're going to cut our throats. It's called casus bellum. So that's why they created ISIS. And they provided all the weapons and all the money and so on and all the logistics. And Turkey was a willing partner in that. So that they could put a so-called Islamic regime in Syria, which will raise the profile of Islam as an aggressor, waiting to cut the throats of Israel, in order to provide a pretext, an excuse, to wage the great war which everybody knows Israel has to wage in order to expand the territorial frontiers of the state. Number 3, if Russia had not intervened in Syria, these fellows would have, it would have been genocide for the Orthodox Christians of Syria. They tried it once with the genocide of the Armenians in the First World War, in order to sabotage any possibility of friendship and alliance between Muslims and Orthodox Christians. They then tried it a second time in Srebrenica. And they tried, Britain went to the Security Council to get a resolution that this is this is genocide, okay, in order to blame the entire Orthodox Christian world in the Balkans. And if that resolution had been adopted, you could say goodbye to any possibility of reconciliation, friendship and alliance in the Balkans. And now they will have tried it for the third time with the massacre and genocide of the Christians in Syria. And that would have put an end to any possibility of friendship and alliance between Orthodox Christians and Muslims, because these people know the Quran. And they know that Allah has said, وَلَتَجِدَنَّ أَقْرَبَهُمْ مَوَدَّةً لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّ نَصَارَى. And they're listening to me. So this is why we say, we thank Allah that Russia intervened in Syria. But there's much more I can say on this subject. I don't want to take up your time. There's much more I can say on this subject. Next question. Yeah. Alaikum salam.
Thank you very much. Just looking at the Quran, Surah Shams, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala making also 6 of His great creation, which is the sun, the moon, and the daylight and the darkness, and then the heavens and the earth, and then Allah making also the soul of mankind, is the nafs. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, Allah inspired this nafs with the
فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. Yeah, go ahead.
أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا.
Yeah.
Can you give us your insight in relation to this topic of today? Thank you.
I think we can relate this to Ayat al-Nur. I choose to use only Ayat al-Nur. That in Ayat al-Nur, you know Ayat al-Nur? No? Masjid Quba is a very quiet place, eh? Allahu Nur as-samawati wal-ard. But this takes half an hour. This ayah takes half an hour. Yeah. Allahu Nur as-samawati wal-ard. What this ayah, we don't have the half an hour. What this ayah is saying is that you need not only faith, Iman, because it's only when you have Iman that you'll have Mishkat. Mishkat is a hollow space inside the heart, in which there is Misbah, the lamp. And Iman is Iman Billah, and that means that you must live for Allah. قُلْ إِنَّ صَلَاتِي وَنُسُكِي وَمَحْيَايَ وَمَمَاتِي لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Say verily my prayer and my service of sacrifice and my very living and my very dying, all for you. Sab kuch, sab kuch, sab kuch. Everything is for you. But you say this with your mouth, but in your heart there is something else. In your heart you say, no, I can't say this, because if I say this, my business will collapse. If I speak like this, they put my name on a no-fly list. They say I'm a terrorist. So I have to put my tail between my leg and run for cover. Okay? When you have that faith in your heart that Allah is the Supreme and you live for Allah, you live for Him. Har hal, whatever be the consequences, I stand for you. Then when faith reaches into the heart, then the hollow space will be there, and then the lamp will be put. This is analogical, a lamp, and then there is a glass. And the question pertains to the glass. Tazkiyah. Tazkiyah. One of the functions of the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, liyuzakkikum, to purify you. And it was this characteristic of this great master that all those who were around him, he was able so gently and so effortlessly to purify them, his companions, purify them. The Sufi Shaykh of yesterday. Today we have different Sufi sheikhs now. I don't want to mention what they're doing. But yesterday we used to have the authentic Sufi sheikh. And that authentic Sufi sheikh was like a magnet. He vibrated, vibration like a magnet. And when once you were in his company, you were close to him, you could feel the vibrations. Yeah. And he would change the lives of people. Yes, with just one meeting, he would change the lives of people. This was the authentic Sufi sheikh of yesterday. So, if you have that lamp inside of you, and you engage in tazkiyah for purifying the glass, so the glass will become clean. And then you shine and you polish the glass. Shine and polish the glass, which is zikr. And be very careful about how you relate to other people. Don't ever get this deadly virus to infect you. What is that deadly virus? The virus of superiority. That I am the chosen of the Lord God. I am Punjabi. I am Sindhi. I am Bengali. I am this and that. And I am superior to you. Aji? This claim to a birthright of superiority. And then you look down on other people, that they are inferior to you. I'm sorry to say this is the heart of British civilization. This is the essence of being British today. The British, I believe, were not like this before Western civilization came. Western civilization came and transformed Britain into this arrogant country. And if you have this arrogance inside you, your glass is not clean. No. Your glass is not clean. Once upon a time, Britain used to produce great sheikhs. The greatest one of all, you know, Father William Shakespeare? Yeah. If you read Merchant of Venice, I don't know anyone who would explain riba with such brilliance as William Shakespeare has done in Merchant of Venice. Yeah. So, if you have this arrogance inside you, your glass is not clean. Liyuzakkikum, to purify you. But then the Quran goes beyond tazkiyah to speak about the oil. And that oil is your effort and your struggle, that the truth must be triumphant in the world. Yes, any more questions? Yes.
Sea of Galilee, Najal.
Yeah.
Something like that, if you could translate.
Oh, you made a comment, not a question. What's the question?
I said, if you could elaborate on that.
The Sea of Galilee. Okay, we'll postpone that for December the 1st, inshallah. So let's go to cryptocurrencies now. What is your question?
The question is, this is in many of your lecture, yeah, you said the trust system, yeah, this is the environment of the job, yeah, has been complete. So one of the lecture you said. So today, in this country especially, many people, yeah, they very common question that mortgage, buy the house and mortgage. Yeah, because most of the scholars say it's haram, some say what is not Islamic country. So you have problem you can buy, and they argue what if you don't buy mortgage, yeah. So the people has money, if you keep buying, and after 25 years you are the same stage, and people who are buying one house, 2 or 3 years, they keep buying habitually, and the poor who is renting is just renting like Muslim. So
Okay.
what's the solution today?
On Saturday, the 15th of September, at this venue that Ashraf will tell you about, some hall, I'm going to talk on the subject. of the Quran and Pakistan's economic and monetary predicament and the new Imran Khan government. In that lecture, you asked this question. Okay? Next question. Yeah. Cryptocurrency. The shadow is of 3 stages. In Taliku, ila zillin zi salasi shu'ab. Which surah?
Surah Mursalat. Mursalat.
Yeah, but you don't answer any more questions. I'm testing them. Surah Mursalat. I notice the 3 stages in my book, Jerusalem in the Quran, which was written 16, 17 years ago, that the island of Tamim Udari was Britain, and I provided evidences for it. And as a consequence, in the first stage of the shadow, Yawmun Kasana, Britain emerged as a ruling state, and the term which is used for it is Pax Britannica. It's a term of international relations, and I'm a student of international relations. And in Pax Britannica, the sterling pound became the international currency, and London became the financial capital of the world. As a consequence, I recognized that in order to rule the world, you had to rule the world of money. Ask any Jew when he tells you it's correct. And then came Pax Americana, which replaced Pax Britannica. And a second monetary system emerged in which the US dollar replaced the sterling pound. And New York and Washington became the financial capital of the world. And then came the mountain of gold coming out from underneath the river Euphrates. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I don't have time to explain to you. And that mountain of gold came out in 1974, when an ocean of oil underneath the river began to function as a mountain of gold. And the petrodollar was born. So Bretton Woods and the IMF gave way to the petrodollar monetary system which we have now. But I noticed that the United States of America is now in irreversible decline. That the challenge which has come from China and Russia, supported by India and Brazil and South Africa, BRICS, that this challenge cannot be met. No, they cannot succeed. The best that they can do is to try to provoke a world war to cover up the collapse of the monetary system. And that's what they're trying to do now. But they cannot risk war with Russia unless they have a man in the White House they can trust. If Hillary Clinton had been elected president, we probably would have had the war already. But to their surprise and dismay, Trump defeated Clinton. Yes. Maybe because we made dua to Allah, please postpone the war. And the war has been postponed, yes, alhamdulillah. But so long as Trump is there in the White House, they cannot risk war with Russia. And their greatest nightmare now, is that 2 years from now, Trump may be re-elected for another 4 years. So between now and November 2020, they have to either try to get rid of him or impeach him. I don't know what else they can try. And if he's still there by November 2020, and if he wins re-election, then their greatest nightmare will come to pass. So long as he is there, they cannot risk war. So we will not have, in my opinion, I could be wrong, but they need the world war to get rid of modern Western civilization. Once that war takes place, goodbye to Britain, goodbye to France, goodbye to Germany. The modern West will not survive that great war. And if you take your time to read Surah Al-Rahman of the Quran, you will see in Surah Al-Rahman that which explains the great war that's coming. But you have to do a little bit of thinking. And I have a little booklet, this is my last book, small, very small, the Quran, the Great War and the West, which we have outside. For example, سَنَفْرُغُ لَكُمْ أَيُّهَا الثَّقَلَانِ نُرْسَلُ عَلَيْكُمْ شُوَازٌ مِّن نَارٍ وَنُحَاسٌ فَلَا تَنْتَصِرَانِ. Surah Al-Rahman. When the Great War takes place, then the world will become smaller. And the great power of the West will no longer be there. And Israel will have a chance now to stake the claim to be the ruling state in the world, in that smaller world. But you need a new monetary system to be consistent. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. And we know that what that monetary system will be. It will be one currency for all of mankind. It won't be paper, no. It will be in electronic money. One currency for all of mankind. And who knows? Mufti might even say that is halal. Poor Mufti. Now, in order to facilitate the passage from the present monetary system to that which is coming, one currency for all mankind, you have to disengage the money that we are now using from the control of governments and from the control of central banks. So you come with cryptocurrency which any Tom, Dick or Harry can create. Yes, you'll be able to argue that there is some benefit in cryptocurrency because Dajjal is not a fool. But despite all the benefits that there are in cryptocurrency, the bottom line is that cryptocurrencies have come at this time to facilitate the passage to one currency for all mankind. And when that comes, that's slavery for you. That's slavery. Okay, I think we've had enough questions and answers. Okay. Who is in charge? Imam? Okay. Yeah. Okay. The management has spoken. The management has spoken. December the 1st at Coombs Farm in Croydon. Go to my website and you get the information, and it'll be explaining Surah Al-Kahf of the Quran. And we'll be able to go back to Khidr and speak on Khidr longer. And then on 15th of December, this is 1st of December, this is 15th of December, 2 weeks later, in Birmingham, on explaining Dajjal, the false Messiah. But one more, and that is, I believe it is the 8th of December, Saturday the 8th, and it will be on my website in Manchester. We're going to repeat the seminar on riba, the prohibition of riba in the Quran and Sunnah. I did this seminar in Coombs Farm in Croydon on July 29th. So we'll repeat it, inshallah. And finally, on next Saturday, September the 15th, you are invited to come. Ashraf will tell you where is the lecture. We're going to speak on Pakistan. The Quran, Pakistan's economic and monetary predicament, and the new Imran Khan government. Inshallah. What's it? Tomorrow at Seven Sisters. Where is it, sir? Tottenham. Tottenham Masjid, Seven Sisters, tomorrow at Maghrib? After Asr. And the topic is methodology for study of the Quran. Another very nice subject, inshallah. Imam? ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام تبارك ربنا وتعاليت يا ذا الجلال والإكرام اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه. O Allah, kindly show us truth as truth. Grant that we might recognize it as truth and follow it. وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. And O Allah, kindly show us falsehood as falsehood. And grant that we might recognize it as falsehood and reject it. Allahumma arina al-ashya'a kama hi. O Allah, kindly show us things as they are, that we might not be deceived by what they appear to be. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad wa barik wa sallim. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Ameen. Okay, you can bring your books now for autograph. Yeah.